Remember that?
There was a request from the White House as to the possibility of replacing all the United States attorneys.
When I was first reading about it, there were 8 or 9 U.S. attorneys that had been targeted to be moved out. And I was reading Goebbels, so I thought, I bet they tried to purge them all. And sure enough, the missing emails that we can't surface, they're gone, would show testimony proves that there was discussion about purging all the U.S. attorneys at once. So why is this relevant? Again, in 1933, this very critical year, in 1 month, Goebbels purged all the attorneys and the judges, and he replaced them with his own guys. Once you do that, you can still have elections. You can still have a judiciary. You just don't have freedom. The president, with signing statements, which he's used more than any other president, basically says, sorry, Congress, I don't care what you think.
Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Arlen Specter is holding hearings on Mr. Bush's use of something called bill signing statements. The president reserves the right to revise, interpret, or disregard a measure on national security or constitutional grounds. President Bush has done this 110 times to challenge 750 separate laws passed by the Congress.
The signing statements represent a fundamental failure of the Congress to utilize its constitutional authority, and the widespread practice has now come into play where the president signs and issues a signing statement undercutting key provisions of the legislation.
We're really at a point where the president is arguing about his own presidential power in ways that are in the antithesis of that Constitution and the values that it contains.
So at the last stage, you start to see this just flat-out subversion of the rule of law, or making it easier to declare martial law.
Beginning in October, the Army plans to station an active unit inside the United States for the first time to serve as an on-call federal response in times of emergency.
On October 1st, 2008, the president deployed a combat brigade from Iraq to the United States of America. 3,000 to 4,000 soldiers will appear on American streets. Their mandate is to engage in quote-unquote crowd control and to subdue individuals who are posing a threat to public order. This damage has been done to pull the last threads out, to make it look like a democracy, but make sure that essentially the pendulum cannot swing.
Does the pendulum swing back? Can it? Will it?
Well, unfortunately, civil liberties don't swing back like other issues. Civil liberties is a very precious commodity. When you lose them, it tends to run out of your hand like sand, and it's hard to get it back.
Once we lose these powers, once we lose the separation of the branches of government, no executive is going to voluntarily say, okay, Congress, you can have your power back. Citizens, you can have your power back. Democracy is hard. And if you can intimidate the opposition, what leader isn't tempted by that? This is the truth the founders knew. The window is closing, but it hasn't closed. And if we rise up together, there's no force on earth that can restrain us.
And the most important thing all founders left us is a psychology of liberty. Take back this country. I honor you.
That rule of law feels to me that it's been grievously injured in the aftermath of 9/11. And I hope that we're going to come to a time when we have some kind of a national commission that will look back at what we've done and will begin to repair that damage.
We as American citizens really should demand accountability. We should. We need to get the American people involved and educated and to have some knowledge as to how to vote and on what basis decisions are made.
Maybe, yes, there are laws that need to be rescinded, but I really think it's more a matter of standing up and saying, this is not who we are, and we're going to hold accountable, those who did these things.
The
if there's a movement around people who are infiltrated that says we will not accept this, then I think the doors will remain open because it will be seen as a political act that's part of a larger series of small resistances.
Ultimately, I trust in the essential fairness of the average American to recognize that some bad things have been done and to recognize that we need to change what has been done in the last few years. We lost our way. We just need to find our way back to the path that served us well for so long and served our forefathers so well.
Jefferson and Franklin categorically believed that it wasn't just Americans' right to criticize the government, it was Americans' duty. The Declaration of Independence actually says you have a duty to rise up and overthrow tyranny and injustice. That is your responsibility as an American. And Benjamin Franklin, knew it was up to us. I mean, there's this great story that he was coming out of the Constitutional Convention, and a woman asked him, so, what is it? Is it a republic or is it not a republic? And he said, a republic, ma'am, if you can keep it.
Quote from Edward Abbey, and it says, "A patriot must be ready to defend his country against his government."
And I honestly feel that in many ways that's what I did.
Amendment 25, Section 1. In case of the removal of the President from office or of his death or resignation, the Vice President shall become President.
My name is Robert C. Byrd. I am a United States Senator, and I am an American. This is my Constitution. This is our Constitution. And this is how it begins. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator.